So tired of being misunderstood. I keep on doing all the good, 'cause life always works out as it should.
Ah, my goodness, take me somewhere wonderful, wonderful. That's why we're here on Sunrise each and every weekday morning, 6 until 8. So tune in, turn on, log on, listen in, and always do remember to spread the word. Good morning and welcome back, Sunrisers. Now, we live where they vacay, or where they hope to vacay. Jamaica is known for our stunning beaches, vibrant culture, and rich history. We continue to be a premier travel destination. In this segment, we'll explore the latest initiatives by the Jamaica Tourist Board to enhance visitor experiences. Now, the Minister of Tourism, the Honorable Edmund Bartlett, will be talking about the recently held Tourism Awareness Week, which celebrated the theme Tourism and Peace, out of many, one love, emphasizing the importance of tourism in fostering unity and peace within the diverse Jamaican community. The minister, who embodies his role, embodies his ministry, and is, trust me, is just the tourism minister of all time. You know what I mean? Minister Bartlett is here on Sunrise. Welcome, sir. How are you?
Minister, welcome.
Thank you.
Good morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, lovely. Yes. Now, Minister, how, like, you love your ministry, you love your job?
Well, I would say that I get fulfillment from it. And the main reason is it brings joy to visitors who come. It brings satisfaction, it brings peace, and it gives them a sense of being.
Yes.
And then it brings wealth to our economy. It brings well-being to our people. And more importantly, it lifts communities.
Yes.
Because sleepy little fishing villages, for example, that existed in the past become bustling areas of huge economic activity and job creation and quality of life, you know, and raised standard of living for people. Butcheress is a good case in point. Montego Bay, you know, Negril, you know, Treasure Beach, and you could name it as you go around it. Everywhere that tourism has touched, it has meant a difference in terms of people's standard of living, quality of life. Has it touched everybody? Maybe not. But has it touched most people? Absolutely. And that gives me the satisfaction. So the fulfillment in my life, my political life in particular, I would say, which is nearly 50 years now. And we don't gainsay that. 50 years of your life is a long time to be in a single area of activity. But the glory for me has been the level of human development that has resulted from my presence in that space, and particularly education of our young people.
Yes.
And the two constituencies that I have been privileged to assist in development have seen that. 27 years of continued scholarship and educational grants to children in East Central St. James, who are now doctors and lawyers and teachers and nurses and policemen. Some are falling by the wayside too, but that's the nature of life.
And also some who are in the tourism industry.
Yes.
Yes, who I'm sure
and
are
Eastern
probably in
St.
hotels.
Andrew.
Yeah,
yes,
and
so
helping further the Jamaica tourism product. But Minister, what do you think makes Jamaica continue to be a premier selection among tourists all across the world, from every corner of the world? Why do they continue to choose Jamaica?
The people. We have the most hospitable people on planet Earth. It's as if we were born, you know, they say we have hospitality in our DNA. The Jamaican has this ambivalence, it seems, where we are not as warm and nice to ourselves as we are to visitors. Some think it's perhaps from our Judo-Christian tradition, where, you know, your grandmother used to tell you to leave something behind, because that's unaware in entertaining strangers, you may be entertaining angels. And so I'm not sure if that's part of that whole psychosocial bit over time, but we seem to really enjoy the presence of others from elsewhere so much more than our own, and that is something we have to work on very seriously. We have to build better relationships with ourselves as we move forward. So to say that tourism and peace, one love, as a theme for our Tourism Week celebration was really to begin to make that point very strong. That this is what we do. We bring peace. We bring nations and peoples together from all across the world. You know, before COVID, 1.4 billion people traveled all around the world to connect. You know, I spoke at the World Tourism Day event in Georgia, in Tbilisi, in Georgia, as their inspirational speaker. And I made the quotation, the point, that, you know, peace is not necessarily the absence of conflict, but it's the presence of connections. And so that's what tourism does. We connect people. And by connecting people, we build understanding. And we enable people to interact with each other and to appreciate differences while celebrating similarities.
One of the things that I think is important in modern tourism now is the development of a network of linkages. I feel very strongly that we have to make the industry work for as many people as possible so that they can feel that connection to it. That person in Manchester or Clarendon or St. Catherine can feel that they have a connection to what's going on in Ochi or Mobe or Negril or Treasure Beach, because they might not be greeting the tourists, but things that they make are, or they're on the plate of the tourist, they're around the neck of the tourist, on the ankle of the tourist, that kind of a thing. And I know that you've been big on tourism linkages network. How are we developing that so that the tourism dollar, I mean, we might not be talking about trickle-down economics, but the more of the tourism dollar is reaching more people in Jamaica?
Right, excellent point. Because the point I made about connections, and we connect in many ways.
Yes.
You know, we not only connect physically, but these days with the technologies, with virtualization, we're connecting virtually. We also connect by our creative output, because ideas are the power of tourism. But that power, to give efficacy to that power, has to be converted now to material goods and services at a value and a price. And that's what we do across Jamaica, so that if you are not in Montego Bay, but you are in Flagaman, you can connect through the tomatoes and the lettuce, you know, and the thyme and the scallion.
You're right.
That you
Scotch
produce,
bonnet pepper.
the Scotch bonnet pepper. And you're not in Ochireas, but you're in the Blue Mountains, and you connect to Blue Mountain coffee and the various elements which flow from the coffee value chain. You know, you're not in Montego Bay, but you are in Litchfield, you know, or Give Me a Bit, and the yams that come from you go down there. So that's what the connection is. And at every point of that connection, it has an economic value. So people earn from tourism, even if you're not in the actual tourism space. And that's what the network is all about. That's what the linkages is all about. And I've spent a lot of time in the last 8 years in my incumbency in the ministry, driving linkages. I've established a whole division of the Tourism Enhancement Fund that deals with linkages. So we were able to create new products which connected people with the industry, even if they are not in the immediate areas. And the Blue Mountain Coffee Festival, for example, is one of those big items. The Rum Festival is another of those big items. And now we're connecting farmers to the procurement areas of hotels through technology. We established an app called Alex. And Alex, on your phone, the little farmer in, did we say Flagaman?
Yes, yes.
Can now speak to the purveyors in the big hotels across, tell them what product they have, in fact, show them what product they have, give a price, and give a timeline for delivery.
Right.
And in the last 3 years, we've done 1 billion Jamaican dollars of transaction between small farmers, meaning 3 acres and less. Not the big guys, not the big poultry farmer now, you know, who is bringing billions in. We're talking about the small guy in these different parts of Jamaica through Alex, just on that platform alone. Now, those who are not on that platform are doing even better. So what we're saying is that the demand that tourism brings, let's say for fresh fruits and vegetables alone in Jamaica, is over $400 billion Jamaican, the demand. So when 4.3 million people visit Jamaica, as they did, you know, in 2023, last year, in fact, which is the largest number of visitors we've ever had, there's 4.3 opportunities for this kind of purchase.
But I guess, Minister, based on these numbers, you know, it's like, then we should have more millionaires in Jamaica because of the billions and the billions.
But look here, there are farmers who are doing very well, we just don't know them, you know, and they're very quiet about it. But there are farmers who are doing very well. Yeah.
So you recall the last coffee festival where we celebrated the small farmer up in the Blue Mountains who started out with nothing, now drives a Benz and so on, just from providing services. But we have many others. But it's not only here. I mean, you know, companies like Brescia, for example, can tell you the story. It started with us, with the linkages. But I wanted to make the point that the discussion about tourism linkages is not simply to find a way for somebody to sell. It's building a culture of supply capacity, because that's the essence of how the wealth you talk about, the millionaires you want to find, that's how it's going to come. It's coming from the supply side of tourism. And a lot of us think that it's about bringing the visitors here. Of course it is bringing the visitor here, but it's the consumption pattern of the visitor that we must respond to in terms of our own production patterns now.
And giving the visitors options as well.
So they are buying Jamaican. They are drinking Jamaican. They are eating Jamaican. They are dancing Jamaican. They are entertainment. Everything they consume is all Jamaican, and that's the objective in time. Now, when that happens, then a large proportion of the dollar stays in Jamaica. When that isn't happening, like now, it is happening sufficiently by any means, we only get 40 cents. So when it happens properly as it should, we could get up to 60 cents. Now, I am quite aware that you can't get 100 cents out of the dollar from the tourism, because the acquisition cost for the tourism is high. Because, you know, you have to bring them here. Tourism is an import that we then export.
But Minister, it's like maybe we have to invite you again, because we have so many other questions.
So many angles.
So many different
And
angles.
I just want to close by saying I recognize that the growth rate of tourism this year has been hampered by a number of exogenous factors, but we are growing. And we are going to end the year at 2.3% over last year in terms of arrivals, and 1.6% over earnings, which means we will earn $4.3 billion.
Well, I might have to come to your office to finish this interview, because I would also want to know what kind of policies we have in place for Jamaicans to enjoy Jamaica, and what we have, because far too often visitors come here, enjoy our food, enjoy our hotels, enjoy our attractions, and many Jamaicans can't afford to do that. So that's something that we're going to take up. But our guest this morning has been the very knowledgeable, the most honorable Edmund Bartlett, Minister of Tourism. It's all about peace, it's all about linkages, it's all about enjoying Jamaica, and of course it's all about one love. TK is up next with your morning news. Please stay right here with us on Sunrise.
The ones who always keep it eye close, the kind of love you can't fight.